All right. So do we do? Should we restart that? All right. So we had a little technical difficulties for our YouTubers, but we're on now. We're live, and we're gonna redo this. This is Danny. We're Said Connects, and I'm here with my host B.
Hey, Danny.
What up? What up? We're redoing this,
We're
guys.
redoing this.
Said Connects, guys. Cannabis entrepreneurial dialogues. We are we create spaces for people and brands of color to elevate their stories and educate and empower our communities. If you guys are tuning in through the YouTube now tuning in through YouTube, we can see we'll be able to check your chats. And if you're listening to us through the app, make sure to check us out through the app, or even call us in too if you guys have questions. Today's is a big topic day that we're going to be talking about THC versus CBD. But before we get to that, let's get through some of our sponsors.
Adore Lay.
Yeah, talk to us about Adore.
Adore is a queer, faith-based community. It's a focus on queer, POC, and marginalized communities. Um, they just hold space, really. It's for those that need community and not only community, but that want to practice their faith.
Yeah, I love that place, and I say it every week, right? And um, I would normally say, about the food, right? We have the food, but being today and being that it's Dia de los Muertos, I really want to touch on something, um, and how I got connected with Adore, and um, it's about 4 years ago, back in 2018. Back in 2018, my partner Julia and I, we lost our baby, and I remember it was a Friday. It was a Friday when we did, and that weekend was just a tough weekend. Um, a lot of, for me personally, having to just hold my emotions that weekend because my family was in town. They were here to celebrate my oldest daughter's birthday, and so it was a lot of just holding things in.
Yeah.
And we had found out about Adore through one of Julia's friends. Um, and he had mentioned to us about Adore in the space and about Pastor Joseph. At the time,
Yeah.
Pastor Joseph, yeah. And when that Sunday was a Sunday where there was the dinner. There was a dinner that Sunday.
That's right.
And Julia just told me, like, listen, I just want to hear something positive. I want to hear something good, right? Like have some good energy. Um, and I'm not the religious type. I don't like to go to church or anything.
Yeah.
But I felt the same way. Like I wanted to hear some positivity. I wanted to hear something good, just from everything that's been going on. And that's when we stepped into a door for the first time, and it again, we came from a place of just wanting to hear that positivity, and we definitely got that at a door when we stepped in. We were welcomed by it with open arms, and as you mentioned, it's a space for PLC, a space for the LBGTQ community. It's a space for anyone and everyone that's just willing to just want to take in,
Yeah.
right? And we definitely received that, and um, I know that although we lost that day, like that weekend, we definitely gained a family that weekend as well. But just by being there,
Yeah.
And again, just from the day and the remembrance and everything of the today, we're honoring baby today, and it's crazy because we watch at home. My daughter Dalia, I know you're watching, Mama. Hi, Dali. I see you. Hi. Um, watch Coco a lot. She has that movie on rotation, Coco and Luca. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, this is Harley baby, just having us remind us that, like, baby's here.
Yeah.
I like keep watching Coco because this is me, right?
Yeah.
So just wanted to let the listeners know that if you're looking for a space, you're just looking for just positivity. Like Adore is definitely a spot that you want to just check out, read into, and it's definitely a group that is welcoming for sure.
Yeah. I think it's also a very special time to remember those. Like, I know that this past year we've lost so many people, to
Yeah, the
keep their
pandemic
memory.
and everything. Yeah,
Yeah, keep their memory alive. A lot of people ask, like, why, like, how do you celebrate death? And it's not that, it's celebrating their life, really.
yeah,
You got to see it that way. So you celebrate their lives, and with that, I just lost my uncle like 2 weeks ago. You know that. But we got to stay positive. And the fact is that, yes, there's tears and sadness, for like their memory, that they're not here with us anymore. But you know the fact is that their memory does live on, and so we celebrate to that.
for sure.
Yeah. And last thing, I mean, we mentioned it before. Adora is really where we came from.
Yeah, that's how we got connected for sure. So I'm not. We don't need a moment of silence or anything right now. We're gonna keep it pushing, but
Yeah.
just wanted to let the listeners know. And then our other partner, our other sponsors that we have is La Familia, and we have some of their brands here. You can see they brought us some more products here. We got some cookies here, so they hooked us up with some cookies and cream crispies, and what's that one there?
We got churros crispies.
Churro
Yo,
crispy. So I'm
that
excited
sounds
to get
fire.
to try these later tonight. Give you guys a review. How'd you like the chocolates last week, B? Okay. All right. All right.
So, I was trying to explain to you how for some reason, I can't really remember my weekend.
La Familia.
La Familia.
La Familia. And for our listeners, La Familia, they're the first Mexican cannabis brand here in LA. They have chocolates, they have cookies, they also have some drinks, agua de flor. You can find them through a lot of the dispensaries out here in LA and throughout California. Stizzy's, Cookies, March and Ash in San Diego. If you want more information with for La Familia, you can check them out on their Instagram page at La Familia Chocolates. Also check them out through our page as well at said_connects, and you can get more info there.
Yeah, definitely try it. I mean, just to let you know, I tried the mazapan chocolate.
Okay.
It was delicious.
It
It was
was?
delicious, and we're gonna get into this, but THC and the level of it is very important to me, and the fact that is that the way they do everything, like the fact that you can tell exactly how much you're taking, is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I still can't remember my weekend, but it was great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, a little bit about this episode today. So over the last few weeks, we have some of our listeners, our three listeners, that that have reached out to us, and they wanted to learn a little bit more. They want to learn more about us as a host, and they also want to learn a little more fundamentals about the plant. So we're gonna do that today for you guys. We're gonna have a quick little interview session between the two of us, find out a little bit more about us and why we're here. And then we're going to get into the THC versus CBD um, concept and what does that really mean? How do we, you know, are we smoking it? How do we ingest it? Are we getting high? Are we not getting high? Like, what are the biggest differences between those two? So, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, hit us up in the chat line. Let us know, or if you know of anything, if you got any info that you want to share, any knowledge that you want to drop, we're not professionals. We definitely are always learning, and so let us know. Let us know in the chat line. Call us in if you have some info. But we'd love to hear from you guys if you do have anything on that matter.
Yeah, that's the point, right? No shame in not knowing. That's why we're here, and that's why we constantly want to learn.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always wanting to learn. That's why, that's why we got into the business. But I want to learn a little bit more about you, B.
Me,
Yes, where you from, B?
I'm from LA, K Town, born and raised.
Born and raised in K Town.
Born and
What about
raised
your
in K Town,
family?
El Salvador.
What part?
So I have my dad that's from a very small town close to Honduras, and it's San Antonio de la Cruz. But because of the war, they did migrate to Ilo Vasco, which is a known town for their pottery. And then my mom's town, not that far away from there, it's a place called Cojutepeque, short for Cojute, and they're known for their botifarras and chorizos. So
Damn,
yeah, I'm
chorizo sound
excited.
good right now. Why are you excited?
I'm gonna be leaving. I'm gonna be leaving for a couple
Well, you're
weeks.
leaving the show, B, already? We just started.
Hey, before all this happened, I did. I've mentioned, I recently married, and I got a cousin that's getting married in El Salvador, and he's very special to me. So we're gonna go do that and then enjoy the weather
Nice. So you're gonna have your honeymoon in El Salvador.
in El Salvador.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Will we be seeing you from there?
You know what? That's the goal.
That's the goal. All
That's
right.
the goal.
So hopefully our listeners will be able to see little clips of the motherland, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited for that.
But yeah, so that's where I'm from, and that's my background really.
And how'd you get into this cannabis industry?
you,
Me.
you. That's how I ended up here. That's how I got into it. The company you were working for definitely needed some hands at that point, and so I came in at some very hectic point and just got into it. Really got like really, really fell in love with the culture there, specifically there, and the fact that you could always learn. That interests me a lot. And so, I mean, we've been working together since then. I don't know how long has that been, like 2 years,
Think
3 years. Yeah,
Think two.
yeah.
Don't try to give three.
All right, fine. 2 years, 1.5.
All right.
Nah, 2 years.
And what are your goals like within the industry, if any?
Uh, it's something like this. We got this going on, and I'm really, interested in the people. I'm interested in the people and why they got into it and their journey to where they're at. And so I think that's my position in this. And of course, like we worked before where
Yeah.
uh behind a desk and like
What were you doing
boxing.
before? What were you doing before working? Before coming on board with us, what were you doing before?
Um, a medical office working the desk job.
Medical office and the desk.
Yeah, the
Okay.
desk. And so just doing appointments and all that. And so when I jumped on with, I was comfortable. I will say that I was comfortable. When I came into cannabis, it was hectic and it was busy and nonstop, but fell in love with it. I knew that there was space to grow
Yeah.
and learn.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you, always sitting down next to you, saying like, "Hey man, what you doing?"
I was doing a lot at the time
A
too.
lot.
For
So,
sure.
what about you though, Danny?
What about me, B?
Where are you from?
Hey, banging on me.
Bang.
Same. I grew up here in LA. LA and Miami. Between here, LA and Miami. Um, and so I've been going back and forth a lot growing up. And yeah, my parents are also from El Salvador. Both. My mom from Santa Ana. Both of them are from Santa Ana, actually. I think. Yeah, yeah. Been there only twice in my life. Once when I was like a younger kid, like maybe in the fourth or fifth grade, and then back in 2019 was the last time. But that was like for a weekend.
Yeah,
That was a quick trip,
yeah.
but it was so dope. It was amazing to be out there. Get like pupusas for like 25 cents.
Yeah,
The best, guys.
the best. Did you like pupusas de arroz?
Yeah, those were so good. Surprisingly, I've never even heard of that until I got
Yeah.
there.
Hey, don't try them out here. Good old Salvador.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then before working in the cannabis industry, I was actually in education. I worked in uh, I worked in elementary schools, middle schools, and I worked with the babies. I worked with children 0 to 5, so that was fun. Working with the babies was always fun. Working with parents and doing a lot of educational work. Oh, childcare too. I worked at a childcare agency too. Um, Again, helping families find childcare and or providing workshops for childcare providers.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started a nonprofit organization that was focused on male engagement in with children with 0 to 5.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I've always been in like this educational piece. Always found that interesting to be able to just give back and share knowledge and give the knowledge that's needed. And I think it's a perfect like marriage of what we're doing now with this and educating is like it's already been embedded in me to do something like this,
Yeah.
right? So it's definitely been fun.
Yeah. It kind of feels like all we need is una tacita de café.
For sure.
Let's talk.
Hell yeah. Well, that's what we got here.
Yeah.
Cafe though does sound good right now. It does.
Yeah.
But let's see. So let's get into this. Um, B, what's your personal favorite way to consume cannabis?
Now edible.
Now edibles.
Now edibles.
What was it before?
I used to smoke,
Okay.
but it's not the experience that I have now. I mean, it came with knowledge. It came with experience, and it came with
Okay.
like trying out stuff. But definitely edible. And I used to smoke back then, but lungs were taking a hit.
Yeah. For
you
sure.
know, so definitely edible.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
Same. Same. I used to smoke a lot, and but yeah, the smoking stopped when baby was born. When our baby Dalia, hi again, I see you. Uh, when she was born, it stopped. Just because I didn't want that smoky, ashy residue after smoking. I was gonna carry her, especially as an infant, right? And so I didn't want that, but I still wanted to feel some type of experience, depending on where I wanted to go, how I wanted to navigate whatever symptoms I'm feeling.
Hmm.
Um, that that led me to edibles, a little more discreet.
Yeah, a lot
For
more
sure.
discreet.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot more discreet. Yeah, uh, same thing. I usually use it for specific reasons.
yeah, as
Yeah,
you should, right? I mean,
yeah,
and we'll get into that.
yeah. I mean, there's those that don't, and that's fine
That's cool
too.
too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
but we'll definitely get into those reasonings. But let to get into the all the different types of consumption that's out there for our listeners. So we have smoking, right? That's the most common idea when you think of cannabis. When you think of the plant, typically people assume or associate it to smoking, right? And when you're smoking it, we're smoking either the flower, the bud, right, or the other things that you can smoke are the concentrates, right? The
Yeah,
like the wax
yeah,
or the
dabbing.
butter, and which is considered a dab, right? Which is a lot more potent than I think it's one of the most potent ways to smoke the cannabis or consume the cannabis plant because you're just getting that raw material into you, and there's definitely ways to consume that, right? Like you can use a dab rig where it controls the temperature of
Yeah,
what you're smoking, right?
yeah.
It sounded like you were gonna say something.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by the song. I
But
know that's
but
your.
I got
I
you.
know that's you.
I do like this song. We're always Dalia and I are always singing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen rigs where it's like you got the email and you got everything. It's not my way. I mean, I don't dab. It's just definitely something
Yeah,
that, it's an acquired taste too.
yeah, for sure. And you know, and I know back then, pre, COVID and all that, like you would go into certain shops and they'd offer you like a free dab, and those are like, you see them pull out the blowtorch and light that bad boy up, and you don't know how much you're intaking at that point, right? Like, because it's all based on how, the plant combusts through the heat
Yeah,
of everything, right? And so if you're just putting on a blowtorch on there, like, who knows how much you're really intaking, right?
yeah,
And so those are all things that you need to, that you should know about.
yeah,
Yeah. Then there's edibles that we just talked about, right? And with the edibles, there's food, right? So there's either those meals that are made out there. Um, when we had our with our first episode with Andrea, and how we kind of touched on the food piece, and how there's chefs out there that are trying to change the game with how you consume THC, and not just with the edible, like the common edibles such as your gummies or cookies or chocolates. Although they're great, as you see, not everyone can have that,
yeah,
right? Like, if, let's say, it's a patient who may be diabetic or can't take in sugar, right? But they still want to be able to enjoy um, the experience. They can do it through savory foods,
yeah,
right? And being able to properly dose that, now that's opened up a new market and a new consumer. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm excited to at some point
Have a
try it
meal.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
meal.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then there's tinctures as well that's out there. Um, that also falls within the edible line, and then we also move into topicals, right? And they have topicals as well, which are the lotions, the oils. Um,
Yeah, that's one of the ways that it got reintroduced into cannabis. Since I was always smoking and then I stopped. Um, but oils is really how I got reintroduced into it. Constant knee, and I have a knee injury, so that constant pain. And so one of my friends, or my brother actually, brought me some oil, and that's how I was like, oh, all right, let me start getting back into this.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I definitely get oils all the time, or lotions. I've even tried some wraps before too. The wraps has helped as well, and you don't feel the high with lotions. You don't feel any psychoactive effects with the lotions. You know, and so that's definitely a way. For those that are maybe feeling aches and pains or anything like that. Like, we can definitely try that option as well, and it would help you to alleviate any aches, sores, pains. Um, you know, we use it all the time at home, and it works like the Bengay, right? Bengay, or
yeah.
everyone's used to using Bengay or Tiger Bombs, and Tiger Bombs smell nasty, but
uh,
you can definitely utilize it in that sense.
yeah.
But let's get into this CBD THC. What's the difference? What do you know about that, B?
You know, in that case, I'm still learning. I know that THC is definitely one of the components that give you that body, like that psychoactive, a high. And CBD is definitely something more mellow on your body,
Something like that. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so we're gonna throw out a lot of information. Um and make sure, like I said, if you guys are tuning in, you know, make sure to ask the questions on the chat line, or drop us a comment if you're listening after the fact, and let us know. But we are going to be throwing out a lot of terms, a lot of information. One of the biggest takeaways that I do want the listeners to at least have is that with this information that we're giving you, you have the opportunity to curate your experience based off of this info, right? So uh, if there's any takeaway from this, is that you have control and you definitely will have power to definitely create whatever experience you need. um, and making sure that asking questions is important. If you go into a shop, if you ask anyone, like, ask the questions that you need, let them know like what it is you're looking for, and try to get as much as possible from that information.
Yeah, it also goes into kind of building a relationship with where you go.
Yeah,
Being able to find out exactly what you're looking for and what you wanted to do.
yeah, for sure. So THC and CBD. THC and CBD really are a small piece to the puzzle. I know that these terms they're thrown out there, they're the mainstream items, like keywords, but they're really a small piece to the component. They're they're a cannabinoid within the chemical compound of cannabis, right? So when you're looking at it in that structure, each cannabis plant has the cannabinoids that has different molecules, right? So there's THC, there's CBD, there's CBN, there's THCV, there's THCA, there's CBG. There's so many of them, right? And each one of them have jobs. Essentially, each one of them have a job. But the ones that are most commonly spoken about are THC, CBD. We're gonna get into two others today, and that's where we're gonna live for today, in regards to the cannabinoid piece of the plant. We're gonna talk about THC, we're gonna talk about CBD, CBN, and THCV. Those four, I think, are important, and some of the things that I look for when choosing an option or an alternative. And then we're going to get into another piece of the puzzle as we move forward. But THC in its own is a psychoactive property within the plant, right? So when you think of THC, there is definitely a psychoactive property in within this, right? And but it also has benefits such as anti-inflammatory. It helps with relaxation. It helps with stress. But it also has side effects. What side effects do you think THC has? B.
Munchies.
Munchies for sure. What else?
Um, uh, Paranoia.
Paranoid. Yeah, I've gotten paranoid a few times.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially because you don't know when it's hitting you, right? And we've had these discussions about our first experiences with too much THC levels within edibles, right? Like you get this paranoid feeling, dry
yeah,
mouth,
yeah.
right? That cotton mouth
Yeah,
feeling, like there's that.
yeah,
So
but definitely in taking a lot of it, like sometimes it gives you that feeling. I know that some people have experienced it. They're like, oh man, I think I need to go to the hospital
yeah,
because something's definitely not right,
yeah.
and
Or
it's
you've seen
just
those videos online, right? Of like of people calling the 911 and saying I'm
yeah,
gonna die, and yeah, and you can definitely get those feelings, absolutely, and I can see why people would be scared
yeah.
um, without that information, right? But going back to the dosage, right? Intake is important. Yeah, CBD is the medical properties. What do we know? What do you know about CBD, B?
I'm trying to blank right now.
Okay, cool. Well, CBD is mostly known on like the medicinal properties, right?
That's right.
There are no there are no psychoactive effects, and it has like those properties of healing, right? It has those anti-inflammatory, it has those anti-anxiety, um, and so it definitely it calms, it evens out the THC level. So if you have taken a bunch of CBD, I mean THC,
Yeah,
if you intake CBD, it'll start to balance your body out in that sense, right? So making sure that you have that balance is important, especially again, like when we talked about how do you want to navigate your experience.
Yeah, which is something that's important to you, and I know it's important to me. Like, at least that's how
Right.
I practice. That's how I use cannabis.
Yeah, for sure. So then we also brought up two new names, right? Into the mix, CBN and THCV. CBN is a property that helps with insomnia. If a product has CBN, if you see CBN in the products, that means it will help with insomnia. It'll help you fall asleep.
Which is crazy because in the beginning, when I reintroduced cannabis, I started using it again. That was one of the reasons why I was starting to take it. You know, um, but then again, you don't not have that, not that you don't have the knowledge, or it's a little. I mean, at that time, it was probably a little bit more difficult to find.
Yeah,
But the fact is, like, that was very important to me, the CBN,
yeah.
because that's really all I was smoking for. Like, all I wanted to do was go
Go
to
to
sleep.
sleep. I just
Yeah.
wanna go to sleep. Yeah, no, I get that. I can see that. And one thing that I learned too is that um, the THC component, after some time, it turns into CBN. So if anyone that has old weed or old bud just sitting on the countertops or wherever in their jars or wherever they may have stored old bud, that property has is moving into CBN. So if you smoke that,
Yeah.
it'll put you to sleep because it's transitioned its properties from the THC component to CBN. And that's when I heard that, I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm sure people smoke old weed and then they said, like, I can't really feel it because they're expecting that THC.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
And it's not that it's bad, it's just a different
It's a
type.
different property now.
Yeah.
It's been yep, it created into a brand new property.
Yeah.
The other cannabinoid that we want to bring up again is THCV. And that one you were pretty intrigued with that, right,
I
B?
was.
You were intrigued, and
Yeah.
it helps with. So you brought up the first that first side effect for THC was munchies, right? That was the first one that you said. Quick too, you were quick with it, like you were just waiting for me to ask, and you were like munchies, boom, munchies,
Munchies.
got it, munchies. But THCV is just like it avoids that. That's you don't have the munchies if you have a product that's high on THCV.
Yeah.
So for someone that's looking for the the psychoactive piece but don't want the munchies, you want to look for products that are high on THCV, V as in Victor, THCV. And so if you find products that have a high THCV content, then it's going to help you with every other aspect of the plant minus that. So if you're looking to lose weight, if you're getting into this new venture of working out, losing weight, but you're scared that if I start smoking, I'm gonna have the munchies. But I know that if I smoke maybe certain sativas or certain plants, it gets me active. But I'm just worried I'm gonna start eating. No, no, no. THCV is the way to go. And people get confused because they'll see the THC when they go to a shop, and we're going to talk more about this later, but when they go into a shop, people are looking for the highest THC content, right? The highest THC. Give me the highest shit y'all got. Give me that 30%. Give me that, that whatever you got. Give me that highest shit. But THCV will pop up in those lower percentage of quote unquote THC levels.
Yeah.
So you might see like a product that might be anywhere between the 14 to 18% in THC, but they're higher in the THCV, but that's for a reason. That's because the purpose of that particular strain is to help alleviate eating, right?
Yeah.
And still keeping the rest of those properties. So it's important to understand what you're smoking so that you know how to navigate,
Yeah.
right? Other properties about THCV, it helps with the nervous system. So it's an anti nausea, it helps with vomiting, it helps with bone formation, it helps sleep, it's anti anxiety. So there's so many
Yeah.
positive properties about the THCV cannabinoid component that all this just helps navigate where you want to go.
Yeah, when you know going, we were talking about this, and the fact, I mean, this one excited me a lot, is the fact that it brings attention that this isn't just a plant that you get high off of.
Yeah.
Like this is not the only property it has, and so the fact that it alleviates or it helps with so many other things is important to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And again, and that's why we started off by saying, like, understand that the key takeaway is that you can curate your experience, right? When people ask me, like, what's your go-to, like, what do you like, what do you like doing, do you like smoking, do you like edibles? My response is, you know, it depends on what I'm feeling, what are my needs in that moment,
Yeah,
that what is it that I'm experiencing. Am I experiencing aches and pains and that I want to try to get rid of that? Am I experiencing that insomnia? And then it also means where I'm at in the moment of that situation, right?
yeah,
So, for example, for myself, if if I am if I'm tired, I want to go to sleep. It's midnight and I know that I got to wake up early in the morning. I can't take an edible because an edible, it's going to take some time. So I'll light up maybe a joint
yeah,
that by smoking the joint it hits me faster, right? And I'll take a joint that is higher on, it's an indica strain that would, it's more of a body high. It would put me to sleep faster than I would taking an edible, right? But now if I'm planning ahead for that day and I know that shit, I'm looking at the time, I was like, fuck, it's already 8. I'm nowhere near done, whatever I'm working on. I know I need to be asleep by 12 because I got an early morning. Then same thing, right? I know I'm planning ahead. I can take that, I can pop in an edible at about 9:30, right? I know it's gonna hit me between 10:30, 11 o'clock, which was that agreement that I made with myself that I'm
yeah,
gonna go to sleep. And I just navigated my way through
yeah.
that. And but the only way I'm able to make those conscious decisions about how I'm going to utilize the plant is by understanding the effects and understanding my own body with what, like, how that works.
Yeah, so it kind of goes into the sense of like taking care of yourself, right? Because I mean, sleep. I back then, not anymore, but I struggled a lot with sleep, and so having that knowledge that if I take this, at a certain time, and that I know around what time it's going to affect me, is just you don't really have an option. You just knock out. But we got a comment from Mysterious Jax. It says,
What
"So,
up, Jax?
Jax, so it says, what are the benefits of taking CBD? For instance, if I have a joint pain and I put CBD cream instead of taking an Advil for the pain."
So with that, again, like we mentioned earlier about CBD and having those medicinal properties of like that anti-anxiety, anti-inflammation, antiviral, antibacterial as well. Um, you're you're taking a holistic approach to those aches and pains, that instead of using like the pharmaceutical Advil or Tylenol or maybe even Bengay and all of those things, right? You, realistically speaking, like at least for me personally, I don't really know what's in there, right? Like I truly don't know all those long ass ingredients that are in, let's say, the Bengay cream, right? Whereas in the CBD cream, you know that it's holistic, it's coming from the plant, and it's providing those same type of properties of that anti-inflammation, right? And so if you're utilizing it for that, it's also it takes on that, right? It makes it it takes that holistic view for sure.
Yeah, and it's also the same thing. You gotta um look for companies also that want to be responsible about how much they're putting into a an ointment or anything like that. You know, a CBD product. It's like I know that sometimes knowing who makes it, it's like you know that sometimes a person makes it not at a heavy dosage,
Yeah,
and then there's other people that just really want that potent stuff, and so you got to look for that too.
yeah, for sure. And again, navigating throughout the day will help with like how you plan your day. I know some people that would plan their day out by utilizing certain parts of the plant. So, like for example, in the morning, they'll take on a product that has a high CBD count to help with those aches and pains, but they don't want to feel that high, right? But they want that pain relief as they wake up in the morning, right? And then as the day goes on, they'll maybe smoke like a hybrid, or they'll take on a hybrid during the day to keep their minds active and still movement and have like
Yeah,
still being active and wanting to keep going. And then through the night, they'll then start to transition into like a indica type of plant, which starts to put you down,
yeah.
right? And so they've modeled their days out by which plant they're taking based on what they need.
I find that so fun. The fact that it's like people get really try to understand what they're intaking, and so the fact that they know what they're taking in the morning, they know why they're taking that midday,
Yeah.
and that night. Of course, who doesn't love that night part? So,
Yeah.
just mellow
I
out.
mean, and you see other,
Or the other way around, when you're going to go out to a party,
yeah. And you see people doing it with like the juicing, right? And like they'll go in and they'll get like their juice shots of like whatever turmeric and lemon and all those. And we'll get into that in a bit too. But people are taking this holistic approach with other properties or pieces of the pie to
yeah,
get them going. This is no different.
yeah.
This is definitely no different. We see the chat line on
Yeah, we got
YouTube
Lotus Hustle Life. CBD helped with my anxiety. I carry it in my purse at all times. And then we got Sheila Gomez. So is that better than my edibles?
is the CBD better than the edibles? No, you need to keep taking edibles. I'm just kidding. Like it all depends. I answered that way because it's my mom. Uh, keep taking those edibles, mom. Um, it serves the same. You just won't feel that like you don't feel it, right? So it's kind of like a boring property, but it's also amazing because it all of those medicinal properties behind it. Um, we're gonna get into the next piece of the puzzle, which is terpenes. But before we do that, we gotta shout out another sponsor. Do you want to handle the sponsorship?
No, you go for it.
Beep beep
Beep, beep.
beep 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 beep. Grass door, grass door delivery. We're working, guys. We're working on sound effects for this commercial. So, but for now, we're gonna do it ourselves. Beep beep. Vroom. Grass door, guys. Grass door. If you guys haven't heard or don't know about Grass door, Grass door is one of the largest cannabis delivery services here in California. Have your cannabis experience delivered right to your door within 45 minutes. As a listener of our show, you visit grassdoor.com and you use said connects at checkout, you'll receive 20% off your first 3 orders. Again, that's said connects at checkout and you'll receive 20% off your first 3 orders. Make sure to utilize Grassdoor. You don't have to go anywhere. Thank you, Jax. Those effects are amazing. I know. So check them out. Check out Grassdoor. Use said connects. Get your discounts. Get your get your products delivered to you. It's the best way to go.
Yeah, I mean,
I,
treat yourself. The holidays are coming, and experiment.
damn, holidays are coming.
Holidays are
Well, see,
coming.
there you go, guys. You can deliver products straight to their doors too, and you said connects.
Yeah.
Beep beep. Zoom.
Uh,
All right, so the other piece of the puzzle that we have here is terpenes. Terpenes. Terpenes are what makes the strains. Terpenes are the terpene profiles is what creates that experience. So we talked about the cannabinoids, right? We talked about how they have its job, right? The THCV and the CBD and the THC. But then there's also what's called terpenes, which terpenes can be are found in the plant, and they have also another job to kind of add on to those cannabinoids, right? And terpenes are found in foods. Terpenes are found in foods.
yeah, you dropped some of that knowledge on me today, and I'm just like, whoa,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you can find terpenes in damn near everything that you're eating. So you're already intaking these terpenes. One in particular that I thought of in the beginning was we're already in November, right? So Turkey Day's coming, right? And when
Uh,
you eat turkey, what what's that story behind turkey? B like when you eat too much, what happens?
Coma.
Coma, right? You start to get that tired
Oh
feeling,
yeah,
and that comes from the amino acid tryptophan. Tryptophan. I think that's
yeah,
how you say it. Which is a type of terpene, which makes you sleepy. It brings that heaviness on you, right? And so people are already consuming terpenes. They just don't know it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Another
It's
one interesting. I mean, because of this conversation, I started looking into it, and like so much stuff.
yeah,
From lavender to lemongrass to like mangoes to like rosemary.
rosemary.
Man, so much stuff.
Yeah, and these are all these things that if you're a cook at home, if you're a chef, if you just want to put a little spice into your food, like you're using these things already
Yeah,
into your daily diets, into your daily meals that, you know, and it makes sense because all of those ingredients are being grown from the ground, right?
yeah,
The plant is no different either. The plant's being grown from the ground. So therefore it's gaining the same exact properties that the foods that we're intaking also have. Tryptophan. Thank you. Thank you, Lotus. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, but a few of the terpenes that I'm gonna bring up right now, one of them is called limonene, right? Limonene. And the properties behind that, it's just kind of like what how it sounds, right? It's lemon like, it has a citrus aroma, it helps with anti-inflammatory, it improves the mood and uplifts. It's found is also found in citrusy fruits, so such as the lemons, right? The mangoes. It already has that. It's also found in rosemary. And if you're looking at the cannabis plant in itself and what particular strain, you'll find a high content of limonene. You're looking at your lemon haze, you're looking at your Jack Herrera, you're looking at sour diesels, which are considered a sativa. And sativas are one of those strains that it's an upper, right? It lifts you up, it keeps you going, and it you see it in the profile for limonene, right?
yeah.
It uplifts your mood, it gets you going. So, and it has that, and if you were to smell it, it has that lemony scent.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of people, they say like, "Oh, I like that citrusy smell," and there is a word for it. And the fact is that we're learning,
Yeah,
and it does it to limonene.
yeah, limonene, right? And so again, when you're at the shop and you're talking to the bud tenders and you're asking, you want to find out, I need something with some limonene in there, and we'll talk more about like how can we make this a thing, right? Because it's definitely important, and it's
Yeah,
definitely going to improve the market if we can educate folks on this. Another one is pinene, right? Pinene has that pine aroma. It's similar to limonene, right? But it has a few more properties within there. You'll find them in a blue dream, which is another sativa. Um, and Blue Dream, if you remember going back listening to the first episode, I believe Chef Andrea mentioned that when she cooks her meals, she uses a lot of Blue Dream. Um, because of that, right? That uplifting feel. Because imagine being a chef cooking a meal for clients and they just fall asleep, right? Like you want them to continue to keep eating,
Yeah,
so you're gonna want to give them a product that will help with that uplifting feeling, right? As you're
yeah.
eating.
I mean, shout out to that art, like it's definitely an art process. Like the fact that you want to keep an environment and you're the one creating it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Another terpene profile here, we have myrcene. Myrcene is more of, it helps with chronic pain, it has a relaxing effect, right? So that's going to be more in your indicas, those. When you think of indica in the couch, just lay you out, right? But so it's also found in hops, right? Hops, when you drink too much, what happens when you drink too much? Get laid out, right? You're
Yeah,
out. So
yeah,
same deal, right? Same deal. So when you smoke those indicas or you take on those indica type of products, it's definitely going to put you out. It's definitely a healthier to, you know, popping open that bottle of whiskey at the end of the day. Although there's nothing wrong with that. I like my whiskey every now and then too.
yeah.
Um, I personally a big fan of Basil Hayden. I don't know if you ever tried it, but for those that haven't, that shit's good. Try it.
All right.
Um, but yeah, so understanding a lot of this info here, like imagine now, if we think back to last week's episode of starting a business or even getting into the business, how do you think this information can help you move forward with info, with this info?
Understanding like what you potentially want to buy,
Yeah,
as in like, buy and sell. That's one of the important things. I mean, there's so many factors of like if
yeah,
you want to start a business, but knowing this information is like knowing what your market is, knowing what you want to focus on,
yeah,
and that's important. It's like I think that if you really take these instead of like I know that some companies just purchase because THC levels high, so they keep purchasing that and just because of the THC, but there's so much more.
yeah, and that's being done because of the consumer, right? The
Right.
consumers are coming in thinking that the best way to go is the high THC content. So now that's driving up the market, and it's making it difficult for folks. And you brought this up earlier, B,
Yeah.
that is making it difficult for folks that know what they want, and it may be hard to find because everyone is only purchasing high THC content
Yeah.
and not necessarily the content that's appropriate for the person.
Yeah, I'm definitely a person that's not going in for high THC levels. Like
Yeah,
it's not in my thing. I know how much I can tolerate. I know how much I take, and mine is very curated. But that's just how I choose to do
sure,
things.
for sure. How do you think we can change the narratives with at least our family members or communities with at least an understanding of what we talked about today?
Putting them on, telling them, having that conversation. We were having this conversation with one of my roommates right before coming, and the fact is, like, I knew that they were always I mean, they're a huge cannabis user,
Sure.
but the fact is that we hadn't talked in a little bit, but they say that the terpenes is something that they look into now.
Yeah.
It's like something that they'd like to focus more on, and the fact is that here in California, at least, or the shops that he goes to, it's very hard to talk about or find,
Yeah.
just because nobody's focused on it.
For sure. And that's all based on like state regulation and local regulations, because at the end of the day the states have the final say and locals have the final say in like what are the requirements that are on the labeling.
Yeah,
So for example, Nevada, our neighboring state, one of their requirements is that they require every brand to list what terpenes are on this product that you're
yeah,
picking up, right? And so that definitely changes the market for them, right? If we somehow made that a mandate here in California to make sure that terpene profiles are listed on the label, and there's some brands out there that are already taking that step and are already like ahead of the curve, or at least trying to educate their consumers
Yeah,
about terpenes, and you can see it in their pages and everything. But because the entire market is so THC driven, it's in a way seems like a mute point for some. But there's still people still doing the work out there, just like
yeah,
we are.
yeah,
Like we're trying to educate our folks and trying to get people right.
yeah. I mean, the reality is that if that's something important to you, I mean, message the companies you care about, and hopefully we change that.
Yeah, and that's definitely a way to do it, right? Reach out to these brands, get reach out to the shops and tell the shops like we're not gonna buy it because we don't see terpene profiles on here. Who knows? That might change because it's each shop has an individual buyer, and so if they see that their consumers aren't buying anything because, or they're only buying items that have these terpenes on the label, they're gonna force now the manufacturer to list those terpenes onto their products if they want those products delivered to their shop.
Yeah,
So shops have a lot of power.
they do.
They have a crazy amount of power on what comes in and out of their shops. And because this is still such a new industry, like
That's
there's no regulation.
Yeah, that's what
There's
I
no
was gonna
one
say.
saying yes, this is right or this is wrong. The shops have a lot of control.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna say. If it's important to you, voice it out. Definitely, it
Yeah.
has the potential of changing. The game is so new. The whole process is new, and so if it's important to you, definitely put it out there.
Yeah. Do it, guys.
Do it.
Do it, do it, do it. So we're wrapping up, and there's so much more information, and there's so much more knowledge that we're gonna need another episode or two, or maybe even three, to dive deeper into terpenes, dive deeper into cannabinoids, and we definitely have a lineup of folks coming in to really have those deeper conversations. So make sure you're checking us out. Make sure you're tuning in every Monday. Um, we got Lotus here, one of the chats. Want to go ahead and read that out, B?
My dad has smoked most of his life, but on the low. It wasn't until one of our relatives wanted to go to a shop when we were in Vegas that he came out out of the closet.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I hope you smoke with your dad now, Lotus, because that must be dope. My mom grows. That's how I found out. My mom was into it. Like she grows out there in Florida in her own little room. It's crazy. I would
Somewhere in
never would have
Florida.
imagined. Yep, she says, yep. That's tight. That's tight. All right, so this month we got a crazy lineup for you guys for this month. Next week we're gonna be talking about spirituality and cannabis. So that's gonna be a great conversation, my mom.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Especially
Yeah, see what I mean? Somewhere. We don't know where.
we don't know where
Somewhere.
somewhere,
No.
but yeah. Um, so we got spirituality and cannabis next week. We have a performing artist and bud tender coming in as well. Excited to hear from her. We have La Familia coming in sometime this month as well. We got the owners of La Familia lined up, ready to come in. Um, and we got a few more exciting guests as well. So make sure to check us out every Monday at 4:20 here live at the TGN Latinx station. We're here every week for you and only you. Well, really for me too, but for you. Make sure if you guys haven't downloaded the Good News Radio app, make sure to download the Good News Radio app to chime in, chat with us, call us in. Um, Check the YouTube TJ Latinx Station YouTube channel as well. You can check out our live stream there as well and check in the chats. Make sure to follow us at Instagram at said_connects. That's CED_connects. Episodes will be streaming on Spotify and Apple out on Wednesdays. So if you don't want to wait, download the app, tune in,
Yeah.
listen. We got special sponsors, our social equity sponsors, Seventh Wave. Seventh Wave, they've been making moves. If you haven't been following these guys, they're making moves. They have just signed another brand onto their team. And guys, Seventh Wave is created by husband and wife, Elisa and Timo. They're doing it by themselves. So now that they picked up their fourth brand, they're definitely making some moves. So check them out. Joyous 420 out of Oakland as well. She's also making some crazy moves as well. She has Fuego 415. She has the Fizz. She has Quickies. She has so much coming out of her manufacturing license that she's creating that it's insane. So check them out. And then Bianca Star Agency, another social equity applicant. She has some big moves coming up in her wheelhouse. One of them being that she's going to be teaching a branding and marketing class out of San Francisco Community College. So San Francisco Community College, they're hosting a lot of workshops within the cannabis industry, and Bianca's going to be one of the teaching a teacher who'll be teaching branding and marketing. So make sure to check them out. Anything else, B?
Yeah. Tonight.
Tonight.
Tonight we're at celebration from Adore LA and Mount Hollywood. They've gathered and put this event for Dia de Muertos. So that's at 1733 North New Hampshire in LA. In LA, yeah, East Hollywood. And so definitely want to come out. It starts at 7 p.m. Come check it out.
Yeah, check us out. We'll be there. We'll both be there. Cross streets again, Hollywood and New Hampshire, right? That's the
Yeah,
main cross streets.
the mainstream is Vermont and Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But check us out if you guys have the time. Check us out at 7 o'clock. We'll be there. And then again next week, Monday, 420, we'll be here. And with that being said, we'll see everyone next week, guys.
Yeah.
Which video? Oh yeah. Bye, Dali.